Light panel on Director Kitamura, who's standing over there. And I already hear something going on. So please come up, sit. My name is Jessica, and this is my co-host, Chris Eaton, from the Kaiju Kingdom podcast. And we are so honored and so excited that you have said yes to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And before we start, I want to say you have the most die-hard hardcore fans. Because I've seen people, it's like, oh, I wait in line and I want to get their autograph just because I know that person's famous. But they don't really have any interest in that person's work. Everyone who's come up to you will come with DVDs, drawings, signings. They know every film you've done. You know, they memorize your Wikipedia page. You know, they do it because they really invest in your work. So just thank you so much for coming, and thank you for everybody who's here at the panel right now.
Thank you.
Thank you. So your amazing people put together a reel for us to watch. And so from what I understand, I don't think anybody else has seen this reel yet. So it's just you guys. I don't know if they're allowed to film it or anything. Are they allowed to film it or talk about it?
Not really.
Don't do that. For your eyes only, no social media, please.
Exclusive.
Your eyes only. So Chris, roll it, and thank you so much for AV for helping.
And those days, you know, I mean, you can just, you know, go into the one theater, then come out and, you know, skip into the next one, and you can just stay as long as you want.
We've all done that.
You know. And so I was like spending all day at the movie theater, and when the final show ends around 9 p.m., my dad come to pick me up, and then we go to dinner. So that was my life. So movie was to me kind of like my parents, my friends, and my school. So, you know, it was natural for me to, when I was like 17, and it was natural for me. What I wanted to do was my life, and I just, you know, to me, life is always like a gamble, so, you know, you just have to keep on betting until you win. So, I thought that become a film director, I had the biggest chance. So,
you went to film school in Australia, of all places. Did you not?
Yes, because I was a huge fan of Mad Max and Highlander, Russell Mulcahy, you know, Duran Duran music video, an Australian cool rock band called In Excess, and New Zealand band Crowded House, so, you know, and of course, you know, Men Out of Work, Call Me Hey, so, I go down under. Yeah. And that was like almost like 30 years ago. 30 years ago, Australia was like a full of land of mystery, not as popular as these days, so it was pure fun. And I thought that when I go to Australia and go to film school, everybody, all the students will be like me, you know. And so I did, and I went to the film school, and I found out that like 99% of the students, you know, my classmates, they were making this short movie about a girl who wants to commit suicide or something like that. So like, what the fuck? This is the land of Mad Max, and you guys wanna make this movie about depressed girl who want to commit suicide? I mean, come on, what's wrong with you people? So I was the only one doing, you know, these crazy things, you know, crazy action, zombies, and that shit. So
so like when you showed up, were you like, where's all the Gimp masks and you know, the lack of the gasoline and everything like that? That's a joke. I'm sorry. But no, I mean, yeah, it really shows. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about your films, like especially I would say your breakout film Versus. It's a Japanese film, but it does not feel like a Japanese film at all. It feels like a old school 80s action film in the most sincere way. And that's something you rarely see like out of Japan either. So, I mean, now the fact that obviously you said like Australian films, and I take it American films as well, were a lot of your upbringing. You put a lot of that into your own work.
Yes, and you know, when I made Versus, I was like 27, 28, 29, and I was struggling to get into the industry. I mean, it's tough industry anywhere in the world, but especially in Japan, it's very tough because Japanese film industry don't have much money like Hollywood, and they don't believe in entertainment. In Japan, movie was more like I don't know, like a drama kind of things. And so I basically went door knocking like 150 producers and directors and studios and companies. I basically went to everywhere with my 50 minutes short movie. I did this $3,000 Go Down to Hell, which is a zombie horror action movie. And I thought that, come on, we can do this with $3,000 in a real amateur. And I thought that, my ability was very obvious. But the fact is, everybody ignored me. So, and they kept on telling me that, kid, this is no Hollywood. We don't have big money, And this is not Hong Kong. We don't have any action stuff. So Japan, we don't make action movie. So I was like, really? I mean, we were the one making cool samurai movie back in 60s and 70s, and what are you talking about? But somehow nobody, believed in that. So my only way to do it is like I just had to do it on my own. So I ignored everything that all this negativity from all the producers or studios or everybody. There was 100% negativity from Japanese film industry. So only way to do is I just had to have faith in myself. And I got huge influence from, like I said, Hollywood movies, Australian movies, especially from 70s and 80s. I still believe, 80s are the golden age of music and cinema. So
a lot of people here agree with that.
yes, but I'm not kind of, director who just wants to do the retro, film. So, yes, I got a huge influence from the 80s movies, but, what's the point of doing exactly like the 80s way? So I just wanted to find a way, my way to do it, how to get all those influences and just make this greatest hits kind of movie. So I simply put everything I like, samurai, zombies, gangsters, kung fu, everything. And somehow that movie worked. So that movie changed my life.
It very much is for lack of a better term, a kitchen sink movie. I mean, you have everything. Like, there's something for everybody in here who loves action cinema. And you were saying that there's no action stars. You actually went out and made your own action star with this film as well, with Sakaguchi, I believe is his name, right? Mm-hmm. And can you clarify this? There's an internet rumor that you found him on the streets fighting, and you're like, kid, you need to be in the movies. Is there any truth to that?
Kind of like that.
Kind of like that.
This kid was, doing this, the real Fight Club thing in Shinjuku, which is a very bad area. Right? And so all the bikers and gangsters, and in Japan, we used to call them teamers. So they just, have their soldiers and do this crazy real Fight Club thing. And I don't know if it's true or not, but the attack said that, he never lost a fight, and he had a record of 22 wins, and people called him White Wolf of Shinjuku. Oh. But that guy's full of lies, so I don't really believe him, but that's what he said. So anyway,
I mean, that's almost a movie in its own right there.
Yes, so I told him that, hey, how old are you? And he said, I'm 24. So when you're 24, you don't just go out there and beating up people. And he said, what's wrong with beating up people? So yeah, in a normal life, it's not that good. So what if I say, I'll let you beat up 100 people, in my movie? And he was like, that sounds exciting. So that's how we met. He's a crazy kid anyway. And it's like 15 years ago, and still crazy. He's still crazy. He never grows up. So that's what he is.
Is there any any American film that you've seen, and you think to yourself, I could remake that and make it better?
That's the hard one, everybody is all the time, it doesn't matter in Hollywood or Japan, everybody's always doing this remake thing, right? And I personally don't believe in that much in that, because you can't really win. Right? The only movie if I want to remake is like, the original movie had great moment, but the movie itself is not that great. That's the only movie, if I want to ever do the remake, but I don't know, that's hard. Because those classic movie that everybody wants to see the remake is, that movie only worked, that time,
movie was it?
No,
Oh,
I'm not talking about that.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you had,
like,
I thought you had a specific movie. Excuse me.
I know that I actually read the script. I'm pretty sure there will be that there's like 10 or 15 scripts out there, but I read the script of the remake of the Escape from New York.
Really?
That script was great. I never read that, and I wasn't expecting. I was like, when the agent sent me, years ago, I was like, really? I mean, why you want to touch the classic? But when I read the script, I get it. Because the only thing, maybe, I mean, Escape from New York, that's a masterpiece classic. I 100% respect. But maybe only thing missing was maybe the scale, big action, because that movie was not the big. And this script I read had that. Kept it, and that totally, the same tone, but with much bigger scale, which makes sense. So that script, I was like blown away. But that's a mystery I found about Hollywood is like, because the agent and my manager sent me tons of script, right? And there's like tons of great ready-to-go script out there. But always, the movie they actually made is based on the shitty script. I don't know why. why you blame like this script when you have this great script?
Is it a matter of like, someone wrote this great like spec script or great script, and then when they're like, here, we sent it to director A, and he's like, yeah, this is good, but I have my own notes. Is it something? Do you find it something like that, like akin to that, like another voice gets in there and kind of muddles it?
Maybe. I mean, Hollywood is, actually. I mean, the movie making is, full of voices, and I'm not complaining about that, because it's not like movie is not the pure art.
Yeah.
If it's a pure art, you just have your pen or your pencil and you just draw. That's a pure art, right? To make movie, you need tons of money, so and it's a business. So I understand. You have to somehow figure out, the way to survive through these millions of voices, but. I don't know why. That's not the reason, but I don't understand why they're not making that Escape from New York script. And I'm pretty sure if somebody's doing it now, it's not that script I read. So like that's a mystery. But something like that I understand. To do the remake.
Yeah. Now,
but even though you do that, that was a huge fight I had to go through with my producers when I did this movie called No One Lives. No One Lives had this very 80s feeling, this one line.
very Carpenter-esque.
Yes, but this one line, somehow, I don't know if it's true or not, but the producer studio thinks that one line movie doesn't work these days. So it's like, well, you greenlit the script is full of one line, and it's a fun movie, and you just want to take out all the one line, then why are you making this movie, right? But that's the fight I have to always. So, of course, movie like Escape from New York, it's all about cool, Snake Plissken's cool one line, right? But somehow, I don't know, maybe they're right. That kind of movie don't work these days. It worked great back in 1981, but maybe not. So, that's why remaking movie is very, dicey for me.
Now, Versus got you on the map, and you did a few, bigger budget films, but they were still rather low budget. Then you got Azumi, which was, I believe, a Toho film, was it not?
Yep.
Now, how did that come about?
That was it was a Toho movie, but it was more this legendary producer Mata Yamamoto's movie. Mata Yamamoto is the only Japanese crazy producer who actually made a movie with George Lucas and Francis Coppola. He made a movie called Mishima, which was a great movie. And he also made a movie with Coppola called Wind. It's America's copycat movie. So, not many Japanese producers did that kind of thing. So he's kind of a living legend. And he saw Versus at the Tiny Film Festival. And right after the screening, he came to me and we just kept on talking and drinking. And I didn't even know about who this guy was. And it was my party, and me and my cast, and I thought that was the night Sami Chibo was there, and Cheki Kayo, the great actor from Nikita, he was there. They all loved the movie, so they came to my party, and we were just, drinking, talking, and somebody bringing in the guitar, and we would start singing. Then this guy who was sitting in the back then came coming towards to me, and after 5 hours, he was like sitting here. And he was just acting as if this was his body. So after five hours and I was drunk, so I couldn't stand. So I was like, hey, I think this is my body. And who the fuck are you? and he said, oh, I'm so sorry. And he gave me the card. And I was like, oh my God, this is the guy made Mishima. So we started talking till and when as the song, and that was very surreal. So we were in this, tiny karaoke bar in Hokkaido. Hokkaido is the northern part of, and there was like full of snow, right? It was like 5:30, 6 a.m. and the sun was coming up, and one of the versus cast was singing this crazy karaoke. And this crazy producer said like, hey, I watched your movie and I love your work, so you have to do my movie. And I asked him, what is it? And that was Azumi. And I was a huge fan of the comic book, so of course, And so that was my major big movie in Japan.
That was your first, that was your first dip into the big league pool, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Did you? I recently saw your name pop up in Variety, and is there a future project that you can talk about? Because what I know is from the article that I've read regarding Vessels.
Mm-hmm.
It was supposed to be a supernatural horror film that will take place regarding the Queen Mary over at the Long Beach. Is there? But it was an article that mentioned your name. It didn't go into too much detail. But is there anything that you can tell us for the people that are here? They're like, oh, we get to hear it first from him.
That is obviously my next movie, which we will go into pre-production next month. I'm very excited, and that's the mysterious thing about this industry and Hollywood. There is I have almost 20 projects I'm attached to it.
Yeah.
And some of them I wrote the script, developed the script, but you never know. You never know when it's gonna go, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this year, because I was back in Asia for the past 3 years doing this movie, Lupin the Third, and I came back early this year, and I was ready to dive into this project, this action horror project I've been developing for 3 years, right? Then somehow for whatever the reason, we had the money, we had the script, but for whatever the reason, it didn't go. Then suddenly it was just a couple months ago, I was at the Hurricane Harbor, ready to dive into the sliders and swimming pool. That's when my manager called me and said that hey, your buddy Gary Doberman, he wrote the script, and Gary Doberman became he's my good friend, but he became like a rock star because he wrote Annabelle last year, and that was the biggest hit horror movie last year. So your buddy Gary Doberman wrote the script about the Queen Mary, and really? And when I was 10, I told you that I grew up in a movie theater, right? My favorite movie is this movie called Raise the Titanic. That was before James Cameron or whoever finds the Titanic. So Titanic was full of mystery. So this was the movie about raising the Titanic, and it was a great movie. So ever since I watched that movie, I'm haunted by these giant ships. So when you begin with Titanic, of course you go to Queen Elizabeth, then go to Queen Mary, and Queen Mary has the most interesting history, both good and bad. So it was natural. It's like, wow, he wrote the script of Queen Mary, and but I didn't believe that. How can you come up with the script? I'm not gonna do this, some, TV crew or amateur independent filmmaker goes into Queen Mary to, capture the ghost and, no, I'm not that kind of guy. So no, I'm not interested in that, right? But then my manager told me that Gary Doberman wrote the script, so I was like, all right, send me the script. So I read the script, and it was very, I called him right away. I said, wow, you actually came up with the character and story. So I read the script. Next day I went down to Queen Mary and take the tour, walk around, and next day I call my managers and I'm in. So then I met the producer. So when it happens like that. So So we're doing it right now. So we're polishing the script right now, and we will start in pre-production next month and start shooting early next year. So that's very exciting. It's kind of like a Shining meets Silent Hill. So, and that was the reason, I decided to do it. The biggest reason is, of course, Gary Doberman, facing that guy and Queen Mary, and we actually gonna shoot everything in actual Queen Mary. That's very beautiful things as a filmmaker, and and the other thing is, I'm not the kind of the guy who gets afraid. That's why all my movie, as you can see, even the serial killer or zombie, they don't get afraid. They just keep on fighting, right? So this is the first time, I'm gonna shut down my fighter's instinct, and I'm gonna make the scary movie. So that's a challenging for me.
So speaking of Konami, you did the cutscenes for a little game called Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes. Can you explain how that came about?
It's I'm a huge fan of Hideo Kojima, who is my very good friend, a very special friend, and my first Hideo Kojima experience was this game called Snatcher. That was back in before the PlayStation or Nintendo. That was a computer game. So since that game, I was a huge fan of Hideo Kojima, and then Hideo Kojima came to see the screening of Versus. We were doing the press screening, and somebody called me and said like, "Hey, guess what? Hideo Kojima is watching Versus." Like, really? So I canceled whatever I was doing, and I went to the cinema theater, and Hideo came out, and that was the first time we met, and then we started hanging out. We went to dinner together, went to karaoke together, and then after he watched my second movie, which was my first professional movie called Alive, he came to the school. Of course, I invited him to the first screening, and he was blown away and said like, I have to hire you before you get too expensive. And he offered me to do the cutscene of Metal Gear Solid. And that time I was super busy because I was prepping this Azumi, but if somebody asks you to do Metal Gear Solid, how can you say no? So of course, I directed like 4 hours. It was the same effort as the making movie, and it was 4 hours movie sequence that I'm very proud of.
Was it mocap, or was it you were just like boarding?
No, it was a mocap.
Mocap, oh wow.
It was a mocap, so we did tons of storyboard, and then the mocap. And whenever I was doing the mocap, Hideo just comes, and he's a super busy guy, right? So he comes, like 30 minutes before lunchtime. And he watched me working, right? And then we just have lunch together, talking about, me and Hideo, we can talk like months about the books and movies. And so that was a fun experience.
And we're probably going to address right now what everyone's, it's on your mind, I know it. Godzilla Final Wars. So there was such a loud applause when that came up on the demo reel. Chris can jump in anytime. You have so many. Your face is just teeming with questions with this. But I do want to know, do you ever, because that's kind of that's where I know you from. And I watch that movie 10 times a year. Do you ever, how do you feel when people are still coming up to you, still giving you Godzilla Final War things to sign? Is it something nostalgic? I know many talents who are like, oh, it's old, I want them to talk about something new. And some are very excited, like, thank you for still thinking about it and remembering it, even though it's been so many years.
No, it's just a pure fun and honor, to have the chance to do the Godzilla movie. So, yeah, everything about making the movie is just beautiful memory for me. So, I'm happy to talk about, the movie.
I thought Chris was going to jump in with a question.
This guy's he's been kind of...
Speaking of Godzilla, what did you think of the 2004 Legendary Pictures film?
Oh, the 2014 one, yes.
Yes.
Yes, the last one. Did you see the Legendary 2014
Oh,
one? You were like, of course.
Of course.
What did you think about it?
No, I thought it was very well done. I was in Korea that day and doing the post-production with Lupin the Third, and always, Korea is the country they open as same day as US. In Japan, you have to wait. That's what I don't like. So I was in Korea, so of course, on the opening night I went there and I watched it. And it was very well done. And I thought that if you make a Godzilla movie, 2014, that's the right way to. That's the only way to do it. So
now I'm excited because they want to bring. For this one, they created their own monsters, but I heard the sequel they want to bring more of the familiar villains like Rodan, King Ghidorah.
So anyway.
Ask away, Chris. This is.
So how did Final Wars come about for you? Because it is, I mean, in Japan it's Godzilla. It's pretty much its life.
No, that was actually the day, opening day of Azumi. We had a big day and the opening of Azumi. Right after the Azumi, I was, after party or something, I was having coffee with this Toho boss, and he said that, after this movie, you have to go bigger. So the only thing I can offer is Godzilla. So
it's the 50th anniversary one too of them all. So
there's nothing bigger than Godzilla. So I was surprised that somebody thought about me doing the Godzilla movie, but I appreciate it, and I said, of course, I will do it. I'm in. So that was a fun process. So yes, I was told to do Godzilla movie on the opening night of Azumi, but I had to do this movie called Sky High right after Azumi. So while I was doing Sky High, me, producer, and the writer sit in the one room, and we started brainstorm. What is the final? And of course, I know producers, they're liars, right? Yeah. So they're liars, So I know that it's a full of lie, but at least 11 years ago they said that this is the final Godzilla, and this was the 50th anniversary. So what we do for the grand finale of the Godzilla, 50 years, it's older than me, right? So what can we do? What kind of the concept? What is the storyline? And that was a hard part to figure out, but but I felt good because this producer Tomiyama-san, I mean, he was the guy, being producing Godzilla. So as long as me and he is in sync, we don't get off the rail too much. So we came, but the thing I knew from the beginning was like, we want to do something big, which is very rare opportunity in Japan.
Oh, yeah.
When the producer or studio tell you we want to do big, that's very rare, So okay, if we go big, then I said, this time the battlefield is entire planet. So and Godzilla gonna just fight all the famous monsters and just beat the shit out of everybody. That was the concept I came up with. And then, the question is how, right? So Godzilla is very, difficult character. It's not pure evil, right? But it's not really superhero. But, we have all the fans all over the world have this mixed emotion about, which Godzilla is your favorite, right? And of course, the first one, that was like a serious movie, and Godzilla was like a villain, right? But like my favorite is Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. That's like a fun.
The 74 one?
Yeah.
Ah, yes.
That's more like fun movie, and that I'm that generation.
Oh.
So and the producer studio, nobody wanted to make dark, serious version of Godzilla for the grand finale. So like, okay, then let's make this this happy kind of feeling, but still exciting movie. So that's how we came up with that story. So what if this alien, Exilian, which is also from the Toho movies, so Exilian comes to Earth and they control the monsters and start harvesting human, right? And they control all the monsters, but only monster they can't control is the Godzilla. So Godzilla doesn't really care about the humans or the planet, but he just doesn't like other monsters picking a fight on him. So that's how we came up with the concept of Godzilla versus all the famous monsters.
And how did the Earth Defense Force, the mutants, come into that? When did that concept come in?
Because when we decided to do that, aliens and near future, most of the Japanese Godzilla movie is like Japanese self-defense, force fights back, right?
Yeah.
So I just thought, like, isn't it better that, to make it a little bit more sci-fi, and like Earth's Defense Force, so that we have the freedom to, bring in more than cool mechanics and weapons and soldiers. So, and all those, the battleship and the costume is designed by Metal Gear designer, Shinkawa. Because I was working, they're like, because I was working on Metal Gear at the same time, so they were like my family, so they were very, kind to collaborate. So, but if you just decided that it's a Japanese self-defense force, you have to be realistic, which is not really my style, when I was making that movie.
So, so pretty much you added, because the beauty about, what I love about Final Wars is the fact that this is the first time that people aren't just like looking off to the sides like, wow, they're just destroying stuff. Like, you actually give the human elements something to do. And, it's the first time there's actually like real heavy fighting action going on. And that's what immediately sets that apart. The cast is a very unique cast as well. I mean, you guys made Final Wars is very much a love letter to all the Toho films. I mean, there's oddball references all the way through, like Gorath and stuff like that. But when you get to, like, when you're making characters like Captain Gordon, how does that come about? With especially with pulling in Don Fry.
That was like, every movie I make, I believe that it's the tough balance you have to have, Like I said, the movie is not a pure art, it's a business, entertainment, so, but I don't want to be the director who don't have my stamp on my film, right? I mean, Hollywood, they have this, great, second unit director and great VFX. If we have the great second unit director, editor, VFX supervisor, honest, director can be anybody. And if you have the script and great star, director can be anybody, right? But I'm not that kind of director. Good or bad, and I feel like I want to put my stamp. So every movie, even the Look on the Earth, I try to put my stamp and then my soul into it. Then, naturally, those characters become more and more like me. Even when we were doing Look on the Earth, the star Shun Oguri, who plays Lupin, he was asking me like, I feel like I'm becoming more and more like you. So that's what happened. So that Captain Gordon is the guy who came up with the crazy idea. Let's wake up Godzilla. That's the ultimate weapon we have. So to make that story and character work, you have to have the strong character, right? So of course we started thinking from the Japanese actors, great actors, but then we all knew that I want to make more international movies. So let's go out from the box, thinking about the Japanese actor. First person we approached was actually John Lennon, because Akira Takarada, who is a huge star in the movie, he said that he met John Lennon like years ago, and they made a promise. When I go back into the Godzilla movie, you have to come back, and he said that John Reno said yes. So like, okay, the movie stars, but we approached him anyway. But of course we couldn't get him. Then the next person we approached was Don Johnson. Then Don Johnson asked a lot of money. So like, really? Insane amount of money.
He wasn't rocking that Nash Bridges money at that time, so you would think you're like, we'll go to Japan and do a Godzilla movie.
Yeah, but the money he asked was like way too much. So then who else? Then we thought about Sonny Chiba, my friend.
Awesome.
But I'm pretty sure Sonny Chiba asked even more than Don Johnson. So none of these works, right? Then we thought about, of course, my favorite Christopher Lambert. Highlander guy. So, but none of this works, and we just had to have somebody. We can't take forever like Hollywood movie, right? So because I'm a huge, mixed martial arts boxing fan, so I thought like, why don't we just go for that fighter, And Don Fry was the guy, because I knew that, the way that Don Fry always, walks to the ring, get up to the ring, and the way he turns when his name is called, and the way he fight, I just knew that, whoever can do this, he can act. So I approached him and I took him out to this Japanese, barbecue place, and that guy eats a lot. That guy eats like this big steak, 7 a.m. in the morning. So I was like, oh my God! I mean, I have to buy him this crazy dinner, but so I feed him tons of, attack him with the expensive Japanese barbecue, and he was like, Ryuhei-san, why do you think I can? I never done that thing, what do you think? I basically said the same thing, the way you walk into the ring and the way you turn, just come on, I have faith in you, so just trust me, I know you can do it. Just shut up and just keep on eating. And by the end of the dinner, he couldn't, I left him no escape. So you're doing this with me, and he's still my good friend and a great guy.
You actually you had him fight Tak at the end of the film too. Was that like an impromptu thing, or was that like something like, I got these two guys, why waste this opportunity?
No, of course, that's, yes. And not only them, all those other mutant soldiers, I just, gathered all those, the fighters from all over Japan. So,
you just go in the pride locker room,
yes.
Just like, you want to come, like pretty much anyone who was willing to show up?
Yeah, and even, the other guy, Masakatsu Funaki, Masakatsu Funaki is the guy, this legendary Japanese fighter who fought against Hicks and Gracie, who never lost, And I think, Masakatsu was he fought best against this, Hicks and Gracie, so I cast him as well. So in Japan, when you're making a movie, you call my team, Kumi. Kumi means clan. So when I make movie, everybody call Kitamura Kumi. Right? Then they also call all those Yakuza clan Kumi. Yamaguchi Gumi is the biggest Yakuza in Japan, right? So they were calling me, Kitamura Gumi, which is normal. But so everybody, when we were shooting in a Toho studio, all those fighters going into the studio, and they said like, I think this Kitamura Gumi is the strongest clan, Yakuza clan in Japan right now. And I was like, yeah, I have a feeling, there's no other Gumi can beat us. So it was fun.
I think we got a few minutes. Does
Yeah, we
anybody
have
ask
a
some
couple
questions?
minutes for questions.
I'm gonna go with the guy in
The yellow shirt,
yellow
and then you. Yes.
Yeah, I was wondering if your entertaining thoughts about taking other iconic media franchises from Japan, like say Gundam or Macross or something like that, and putting your touch on it for a live action film.
Yes, if the timing and yes, I'm a big fan of Gundam, and actually I'm having a meeting next week with, I can't say it, but something that it's one of the biggest franchises in Japan, but nobody expected I'm doing it. It's not like a Gundam or so I don't know, this Hollywood producer wants to do it, and I'm not sure if I can clear the rights. I mean, always the problem is getting the rights. Because the Japanese and Americans, we have different way of thinking, different, culture, and it's extremely hard. I did that, in the past in a couple of the projects, but just, in the getting the middle, and because I understand both sides of the story, but to find the point was compromise. That's not easy. So I'm not a big fan of doing it because life is too short. I prefer to just make a movie. But yes, I'm working on Entree. I'm working on this one giant franchise right now. So we'll see.
And yes, we had your question.
Yeah, since you worked with Hideo Kojima, would you consider working with them on something? It's like a game or a movie?
Maybe. I mean, yes. I mean, it is sad, but I'm kind of happy that he finally left Konami. That's what I've been telling you. Since 12 years ago. Why? yes, I love Metal Gear, but are you gonna keep on doing this until end of your life? I mean, So I'm actually happy that he finally left the company and starting his own. So I don't know what he's doing, and even though I know, I can't tell, right? I mean, Hideo Kojima fans, Metal Gear fans are hardcore than my fans. They just Twitter everything, right? So don't Twitter anything, but no. Actually, if you're a hardcore fan, there is this video on the YouTube, right? Hideo came to LA, 2 months ago, and I was with him. I'm the one, shot that video with him. So me and Hideo we're very good friends, and it's not that easy to work with him. He's extremely genius, extremely genius, that guy. So I need to catch up with him, but. I still think that, I'm one of the few people, who can catch up with that guy. We watch all movies and the books. I never met somebody who watched more movie than I am or read more books than I am. And Hideo is I don't know, maybe only one. So we were always like kind of like competing each other. Hey Hideo, do you know this book? And if he says no, they're like, hi, what are you doing? You don't know this book? So I Amazon, I send it to him. Then he does the same, right? And so no, it's a very special friend of me, and I'm sure one day we will do something together, hopefully. So
we got time for a few more questions.
Yes, we'll do the lady and the gentleman.
Thank you. What's your favorite American action film and why?
American action film, that's a hard question to answer. I mean, there's just too many. But right now, Commando, that's the best. Commando is, I believe, that's the real non-stop movie. Compared to that, nothing is non-stop. I mean, Commando, the Schwarzenegger, what is going on? No. Shut up. No. Kill. I love that movie.
Thank you.
And then, sir?
Yes.
Yeah, I've got a question. Do you see yourself falling in some way within the tradition of Japanese cinema directors and makers? And if so, which Japanese directors have you appreciated and maybe been influential?
Not really. That's a good and bad side of me. I don't really get influence from Japanese movie, more from the American movie and Australian movie. But I do. I did this kendo, Japanese, sword fight myself, and karate, all that kind of thing. So I believe that I understand more than most of the Japanese these days about this. What is this? Code of honor, samurai, and that's what I always try to keep in my movie. And of course, I've seen great movie from Akira Kurosawa, of course. Shogun Assassins. Baby Card, Shogun Assassin. That's one of the movie I got influenced when I was making verses. Because, those days, Japanese movie were cutting edge, and they were doing this over-the-top crazy action movie. Sad thing is they don't do it anymore. But, yes, I got influence from all those 70s, 60s, samurai movies. But mainly, I got influence more from American directors or Australian director. And, okay? The big, and I think that's also makes my style a little bit unique is, yes, I got influence from Sam Raimi, James Cameron, but I got huge influence from Peter Weir, Australian director. Gallipoli is one of my favorite movies. Peter Weir is one of the few directors who never fail to me. Every single movie he does is very special to me, and that poetic feeling, that emotional, that's how, that's the most important thing. I got influence from Peter Weir's movie. And even though I'm making this, the Human Eater, Subway movie, or the zombie movie, I always try to keep that kind of emotion, philosophy, poetic feeling. So,
all right, well, I believe that's going to do it for this panel. Thank you so much, Mr. Kitamura, for coming out.
Thank you.
Giving us, thank you for coming out.